Yo, good morning. Good morning. Hit the like button when you come up in here, please. Give you guys a minute to climb in. I know it's mad early. It's almost 6 o'clock on the East Coast. So we're gonna go through this real quick. Jimmy Newton was good. No, I did not see heavy duty country debate the clown shoe Tatum. I have not seen that. Um, yeah, I might pull that up. That's what's up. You in here, but it showed me. Oh, now it wants to reflect the actual numbers. Give y'all a minute. I'm going to. I heard that heavy duty country debated. Jimmy. So let me see what's up with that real quick. Hold on. We're gonna get into it. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Freedom's March. Welcome to Freedom's March. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. This is Tyrus Bain. We got a few topics to get into before I do my workout. I'm actually doing a lighter workout this morning. Today is a deload day. You know, I've been going hard in the paint. You know, it's time to. Sometimes you got to sit back and you know, do your deload days. I haven't had a rest day in a while, so I don't typically do rest days. I more so do deload days, which means I do lighter work. You know, and get some yoga in or some stretching. Let me see. All right. Let me see here. How long is this? An hour and 37 minutes. Ooh. Hold on. Freaking loud, man.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hope everyone is having a good night. Tonight we got a special guest, Officer Tatum. He is it's ex-police officer, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you were SWAT as well?
Yep.
And he's a professional speaker, has a large YouTube channel, and you were doing stuff with Shapiro for a while too, right?
Yeah, I jumped around, man. Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. You know, a lot of those people in the same circle. So I did a lot of work with just about everybody.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, hey guys, we're gonna keep this really respectful. We just want to kind of have a conversation about this Uvalde thing. Obviously, if you've watched both of our videos, we've definitely been
sense of say that they did it perfectly. They did exactly what they were trained to do, and everything is kosher. You know, I think my whole argument is that I think our critiques of the Uvalde Police Department is in hindsight. At least that's my opinion of it. Not necessarily what they expected and what they saw while they were there, for the most part.
Gotcha. Okay. So I know, I think it was in one of the first videos you made, you said that you had firsthand knowledge. Is that, was that a police officer that was inside that hallway? Or someone inside
He getting ready to lie, y'all. Look, he getting ready to lie. You see it? You see him? He getting ready to lie. That motherfucker didn't have no knowledge. Hold on, y'all.
While they were there, for the most part.
Look at this. Motherfucker get ready to lie.
Okay. So I know, I think it was in one of the first videos you made, you said that you had firsthand knowledge. Is that, was that a police officer that was inside that hallway?
Look at the lie, y'all. Look at the lie. Up and to the right. Up and to the right. That motherfucker getting ready to lie. Right? The source, the person in the hallway who said they used the Halligan. The person in the hallway that said that there were no shields. But there were multiple shields. Multiple shields. They never tried the door before Vortex showed up. This motherfucker, man, let me tell you something, man. This dude right here, lying. Look, he getting ready to lie. Look at that. Let me find the lie in the sky. That's what it is. When you look up to the right, you trying to find this lie in the sky. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what he doing. He about to lie.
Or someone inside the hallway, or how?
Look.
I'm just curious on what.
I'm trying not to burn my person, but yeah.
Well, you don't have to say his name or anything like that.
Yeah, I was getting intel from somebody who
he ain't got no person.
Was not only, it wasn't a person at the beginning. A person that came a little bit later was in the hallway, reached the room, and was inside. So.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wait. Breached the room and was inside. But you said, come on, man. So if this dude breached the room and was inside, then he would know that the door was unlocked and that they didn't need to use a Halligan. They didn't even need the key. But he didn't tell you that. This dude is a liar, bro.
But yeah,
well, you don't have to say his name or anything like that.
Yeah, I was getting intel from somebody who was not only, it wasn't a person at the beginning. A person that came a little bit later was in the hallway, reached the room, and was
inside that hallway. Or,
but yeah,
well, you don't have to say his name or anything like that.
Yeah, I was getting intel from somebody who was not only, it wasn't a person at the beginning. A person that came
morning coffee
a little bit later was in the hallway, reached the room, and was inside.
Yeah, no, I got you. So let me ask you, I mean, obviously in a situation like this, I'm sure a lot of adrenaline's going through your system. Is it possible that maybe maybe some of the information he told you is not correct, and or do you think he's possibly fabricating some of the stories?
Habakai was good.
Ultimately save his ass, because I don't know where this thing's going with. I don't know if they're filing charges against the chief or if it's even going to go that far. I have my own opinion on that. But do you think it's possible that this guy or whoever it was is not factually correct on everything he told you?
He obviously is not.
I think it's possible. You know, obviously, I've done this for a living. I've done this for a living, and I understand that some people, they call it the haze of war or whatever, the fog of war. Sometimes things can be not remembered properly, and that's totally
right. Come on, man. Come on.
Fine. And after looking at everything that I've looked at, I think that the guy who gave me intel was like 99% correct on everything he told me, which was verified by many different sources. I think there was a few nuanced details that I understand when the stuff hit the fan and shots are being fired, that small nuances may be a little off.
What was
gotcha. Okay.
What was
it? I think the only thing that he got wrong was the door situation. I think he interpreted that they used the Halligan, but the Halligan wasn't used. The key was used on a door.
What did I tell y'all? No, the key was not used, yo. Did y'all hear? I showed y'all the video the other day. They didn't. The door was unlocked. The door was unlocked according to the head state trooper. The door was unlocked, and he knows that the Uvalde chief, Arredondo, did not even try to use the door. Never even tried a key. So come on, man, we can't believe anything this guy says.
Everything else was pretty accurate.
No.
See, and that's the thing that I'm really confused about. So Chief Arredondo did the interview with Texas Tribune, and he said they were trying different keys for 77 minutes, and he was praying that wouldn't work. That's whatever they put in the article. And then
praying it wouldn't work.
The DPS.
Did you hear? Praying it wouldn't work. Now I haven't seen this interview, but it sounds like Heavy Duty Country is saying that Arredondo said that he was praying that the key wouldn't work. Hold on.
Different keys for 77 minutes, and he was praying that wouldn't work.
Door. Everything else was pretty accurate.
See, and that's the thing that I'm really confused about. So Chief Arredondo did the interview with Texas Tribune, and he said they were trying different keys for 77 minutes, and he was praying that wouldn't work. That's whatever they put in the article.
To me, that sounds like what some coward would say. I pray the key wouldn't work so I wouldn't have to breach the door or go in and deal with this guy. That's what it sounded like to me.
The DPS director did his whole thing and said that a key wasn't even needed. So is that a cover-up? Is that a I mean, it's just that doesn't make any sense.
Well, let me speak to that real quick.
Brandon Tatum, he's about to pontificate, and he's going to have more. He's going to know better than the DPS director that said that the key wasn't necessary. Watch. He's going to know better than that.
He's saying a key isn't needed in hindsight, right? At the time, nobody knew that the door was not functioning properly.
You know why they? Wait, what? Not functioning properly? What is he talking about?
According to the protocol at the school, every door is supposed to be locked. None of those doors are supposed to be open. They cannot lock from the inside, so they're supposed to be set to the lock mechanism setting. They were all locked. However, this particular door, the door jamb with the you say where the I'm trying to think of the name of it. The door jamb where the strike plate is, where the throw goes through, right? Where you push the door shut and the throw goes right through the strike plate into the door frame. That wasn't lined up properly, and it had the propensity to malfunction, meaning that it wasn't secure. That's not something that they knew at the time.
You know why they didn't know that? Because they didn't try the fucking door. They didn't know that because they did not try to open the door. You know why they didn't try to open the door? Because they're fucking cowards.
I think people can argue should they have tried the door or not, but it's the DPS director was saying they never needed the key. In hindsight, nobody thought of that or thought that they didn't need a key when they were there. That's why Arredondo.
Because they didn't try the fucking door. That's why. They didn't know they didn't need the key because he didn't try to open the fucking door. He didn't try to rescue those children. Period.
Was trying for keys, and that's why ultimately the BORTAC unit actually used the key to open the door.
Yeah, it's just really confusing because I'm picturing a door, and if you were able to put a key in the door, you're able to twist the knob and see if it's open or not. That part just doesn't make any sense. So what you're saying is that they're supposed to be locked and they just didn't try to see if it was unlocked, and they just kind of were.
Well, so the way it was is that from all the information that I have, it's that they perceived that it was locked. Arredondo is perceiving that it's locked. It's the way the school is supposed to be. all the other doors were locked, and he was trying keys, a master key on other doors so that they can have the proper key to breach. And I'm not justifying what he did or not. I'm just giving the facts. And so
Mhm.
it appears that they believed that the door was locked. They used the key, and when the Vortec team went to the door, they just simply put the key in and they set it to the unlock setting before they opened the door. So they never actually pulled on the door, and the door wasn't so floppy that it just came open when they began to put the
Right.
key in. So it had a level of security. Now let me say this. Let me clarify this. When you look at let me ask you this question. Did you watch the entire hearing?
I watched a lot of it. It's starting to piss me off, honestly, so I had to shut it off.
So
But
a lot of this information is crucial because it was a 4.5 hour, a little bit over 4.5 hour hearing. Senators were asking questions, and a lot of this stuff was covered. So they weren't able to determine for a fact that the door was actually open. They believed that it was open because the shooter went in and out the door twice. The door did not have a lock malfunction. They just believed, based on the shooter, that the door may not have latched and was shut, but they cannot prove unequivocally because nobody tried the door.
Because nobody tried the door. That's the point. That's the point. Nobody tried the door because they were fucking cowards. They were too scared to try the door. I'm done. I got to move on.
Even when Bortec went in, they never tried the door. So they don't know if it was actually locked. They have no unequivocal evidence if it was locked or not. They derived the fact that the key may have never been needed, given the fact that on camera they could see the shooter going in and out the classroom.
I mean, that's a good indication, right? Because the shooter doesn't have a key. So obviously it's unlocked if he's going in and out the door, right? If he's going in and out the door is unlocked. He doesn't have a key to unlock the fucking door or to lock the door. So he didn't come out, set it to the lock setting, and then go in because he don't have a fucking key. I worked in schools. That's how it works, right? You cannot lock the door from the inside. You can use the key to lock or unlock it like you would if you were inside the door and they had that little knob that you can twist. You can do that from outside the door with the key so that when it closes, it's already locked. And obviously, if this kid got in there in the first place, it's not locked because he can't lock it from the inside. So when he comes out, if he came in and out twice, that obviously demonstrates that the door was unlocked. Whether it latched properly or not, it obviously, he was able to get in and out the door. All right? Come on, man.
According to his testimony, the door could lock. It's just that the door it was difficult to secure the throw into the door jam. So
yeah,
people
I
are
get
coming
you.
up with this idea, but it's not even unequivocal.
It is unequivocal. If the shooter came in and out twice, if that's true, then the door was unlocked, point blank in the period. And what this unequivocal shit, it doesn't matter because Aridano did not try the door. Those 19 motherfuckers in the hallway didn't try the door. The first 11 cats that were there at 11:23 or whatever I showed in my last live stream, they didn't obviously try the door. So this is covering right here. This is all irrelevant. The hindsight stuff, that was in hindsight. It doesn't matter. We know if the kid came in and out the door twice, then the door was unlocked. When he got in there initially, the door was unlocked. He can't unlock it. He can't lock it from the inside. So obviously, the door was unlocked. And okay, so let's say the door was locked and it didn't latch properly. You still try the fucking door. You don't have to try it before you actually make entry. What you do is, like I said, if you have multiple teams, one is causing the distraction at the window or the other door, right? The other door, you cause a distraction, try to draw the shooter to the other door, from the classroom that's attached through the bathrooms, and you do it that way. Anyway, I'm done. I got to move on. This guy's, come on, man. Come on. I'm going to have to watch this later, though, because I can see Heavy Duty Country is not look. He's trying to be patient, but he's like, you know what I'm saying? He's obviously covering. You know what I mean? So, all right. Anyway, Mooch, truck driving across the country. I didn't know you and Mighty Mouse made up and are friends now. Mooch 25, what are you talking about? I didn't make up with nobody's Mighty Mouse. I don't know what you're talking about. You're gonna have to clarify that for me. Because it's fuck Mighty Mouse. I don't know what the fuck you talking about with that bullshit. You got me fucked up. Anyway. All right. So we had 2 Supreme Court decisions within the last week that are huge decisions. No, not abortion and vaccine. Abortion and gun and the Bruin case. Anyway, right. All right. So the Supreme Court. Now, what I want to talk about is how the left is reacting to this, of course, and in relation or in comparison to how they are reacting to the Roe versus Wade thing, because I feel like this is fucking hilarious how they responding to this. So anyway, the Supreme Court's daily decision to take the originalist approach to gun control. Right? Originalist as in you go by the text of the Second Amendment, point blank and period. That's how it's supposed to work. Right? On Thursday, the Supreme Court struck down New York's 109-year-old gun control law and signaled a significant change in the court's approach to interpreting the Second Amendment. In brief, it set out a new, more stringent legal standard that courts must use when analyzing constitutionality of gun control measures. As it should. As they should. All right. Your name was brought up. Your name was brought up. Your name up in his video 2 days ago. Mouse said that at first you and him had a problem, but he said Mighty Mouse is a known liar, so you can believe what you want. You understand? But I don't know what the fuck he talking about. Mighty Mouse is a known liar. He said that he went to Randy Couture's house, right? He went to Randy Couture's house. That's what he said. Then he showed a video, him kicking it with, I guess, Randy Couture. But he's not at Randy Couture's house. They're at a fucking casino. He said that he had a 3-way phone call with what's the dude with Snoop Dogg and Babu. That was a fucking lie. I proved that. I never made up with fucking Mighty Mouse. He's full of shit. You understand what I'm saying? He would like to make up with me because he probably wants to go back to L.A. and do whatever the fuck he wants to do in L.A. But I doubt he can do that. You know, I'm not in L.A. anymore, but it is what it is. Anyway, so this is a significantly limited approach to the Second Amendment, which will make it harder for states to even federal government to impose new gun control measures. Great. This is how it's supposed to work. There aren't supposed to be any gun control measures. It says shall not be infringed. Here is the key in the Second Amendment: the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That is the most important thing. That is the independent clause. The dependent clause is a well-regulated militia being necessary for a free state, right? But that's dependent on our right to keep and bear arms, right? Not just so that we can form a militia, but because it's our natural born right. And in order to have a militia, our right to keep and bear arms must be secure. Yeah. In New York, you must demonstrate proper. Well, this is before. And it violates the Constitution. Violates the Second Amendment. Proper cause is a heightened standard which requires the applicant to do more than merely state that they need a handgun for self-defense, which is all you need. You don't even need to do that. This whole permit shit, The permit system is in and of itself unconstitutional. You know what I'm saying? And if it was up to people like Clarence Thomas, that's what would they would do away with permits. But Kavanaugh bitch ass had to come out. Oh well, they still have the right to blah blah. Man, fuck out of here. Saying that the states still have to come up with these standards and the states can still require a permit. This is bullshit. 6 members of the court decided that this standard was too demanding of applicants in light of the Second Amendment rights at issue. Exactly. But Chief Justice, and these people, these two fucking clowns, but Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh made clear in concurring opinions that the ruling only touches New York's law, which is described as a May issue. This means the government officials have discretion over whether to issue a permit even after the applicant satisfies certain requirements. The occurring justices emphasize that the ruling does not affect so-called shall-issue laws, which provide the government officials must issue concealed carry permits once certain objective criteria are satisfied, which is bullshit, right? But they kept that in place. You can't give the people back too many of the rights at once. Hold on, y'all. I gotta lower this garage door a little bit because I'm getting loud and I don't want my fucking neighbors to be complaining. Hold on. Yeah. So, the court's opinion dictates that the Second Amendment cases must be analyzed under a strict originalist perspective. That means a legal standard which relies only on the text of the Second Amendment as informed by history. In other words, the court's decision means we do not take current circumstances into account when analyzing issues of gun control. You know why? Because the way the Second Amendment was written, it can adapt to the times, right? That's why I said the right to keep and bear arms and not the right to keep and bear muskets, because they understood that there would be an evolution in firearms, right? They understood that, so they were like, you know what? We don't ever want these rights to be infringed. We don't want them to try to get around it. So this is how we're going to write it. It's meant to be this way. It doesn't matter what the times are, because there always will be and always have been violence. There always will be and always have been murder and all this other stuff. And the idea, and there will always be tyranny. There will always be individuals that will try to commit tyranny against you. So this is something that's supposed to. It doesn't need to change. It doesn't need to take it into account. It's already been taken into account when it was written. So this idea that we're supposed to, the Second Amendment should change with the times. No, it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to change with the times. This is a significantly limited approach to the Second Amendment, which will make it harder for states to even federal government to. Good. The court emphasized that the Second Amendment enshrines the right of the people to keep and bear arms. This includes the right to carry a gun outside of your home for self-defense without going through the type of permitting process required by New York and about half a dozen other states. The court painted New York's law as an outlier, noting that while even states have may issue laws, 43 states have shall issue laws. Again, these now legal permitting schemes require that even after a certain requirements are met, a government official still has discretion to deny the permit, which is bullshit, right? Permit is bullshit itself, but after they meet the requirements, you still don't give it to them. That's bullshit. So the division between the majority and dissent opinions is yet another example of our two competing camps of constitutional interpretation. Mighty Mouse is a fucking liar. We made up. Okay. Now, of course, you know, they think that all people are gonna, now that this decision's been made, 8 million people are gonna go out and kill. Like, come on. Now, this decision was an important step, and it wasn't a big enough step, and that's real shit. It wasn't a big enough step. A big enough step would be to eliminate the permit process to begin with. The idea that you have to get a permission slip to exercise your right to keep and bear arms is an asinine one, and we should not be forced to get permission from the government to do shit. You understand what I'm saying? Because criminals are not doing it. Criminals, they're not getting permission slips. They don't need one, right? They just go out in the street, they go in the back of somebody's trunk, and they go get some shit. They get what they want. They can get fucking fully automatic weapons. They can get grenades. They can get fucking anti-tank. Look, motherfucking T.I., I will always use T.I. as an example. And not just him. There are other people who they have gotten, the cops have found grenades and claymore mines and all type of shit at people's houses. Regular citizens, people who've never been in the military, right? And also people that have been in the military, they got caught with shit too. That you would think, oh, well, government regulation should have stopped this, but it never will. It's not the point of government regulation. It's not the point of laws or man-made laws and rules, right? Rules and laws are meant to be broken, right? And they're meant to give a way for the government to punish you when you break these laws. But it doesn't stop people from breaking the laws. You understand what I'm saying? There's no preventative. It doesn't prevent shit. Understand that. So, that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. These people, somebody, one of my Facebook friends asked the other day, do you think laws and rules stop people from doing bad things? And I was like, laws and rules are not designed to stop people from doing bad things. They're designed to punish and extort you once you do break that shit. That's what they're designed to do. They're not designed to prevent anything. That's not the point of rules and laws, right? Especially man-made rules and laws. But anyway, that's just what it is, man. Until that's recognized, we'll never have the level of freedom that we need. This gets us a little step closer, but it doesn't change anything for people like me who live in states like South Carolina or, other states that have shall issue, in terms of permits. Permitting process should be eliminated completely. Now, if they'd done that, we would have been a much bigger step, right? Much bigger step toward freedom. The next thing to do would be to get rid of the national firearm shit. The one that places restrictions on certain weapons. It prohibits people from owning certain weapons or prohibits certain weapons. That's something else that has to go. And then you eliminate every other gun control law. That needs to be a case that needs to go before the Supreme Court. All gun laws are unconstitutional. All gun laws violate the rights to keep and bear arms. All gun laws are infringements. But anyway, there's that, and then we have Roe versus Wade, right? We have Roe versus Wade, which basically puts, before it basically said that all states must allow abortions up to a certain point and all this, that, and the third. But what this does is, and you couldn't place restrictions on abortion. That's really what it did in a state. Like a particular state wouldn't be allowed to place any certain restrictions on abortion. And what this does, this eliminates that barrier and allows certain states to completely ban abortions, like completely. In a historic and far-reaching, come on, man. Where's your copy editor? Far-reaching? What is that? Come on, man. This is NPR. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on. Come on. The U.S. Supreme Court officially reversed Roe v. Wade on Friday, declaring that the constitutional right to abortion. And this is what I really loved about this article. Constitutional right to abortion. I'm sorry. Where in the Constitution does it say that you have the right to kill and slaughter babies in the womb? Where does it say that? Where does it say in the Constitution that you have the right to kill babies? And in some states, up to 9 months. And in New York, even after birth. That's that slippery slope that people be talking about, right? They try to say, oh, slippery slope fallacy. No. It's not a fallacy when the slippery slope actually presents itself. You understand what I'm saying? And so you're saying that you have a constitutional right to abortion. There is no constitutional right to abortion. There is none. Writing for the court's majority, Justice Samuel Alito said that the 1973 Roe ruling, and repeated subsequent high court decisions reaffirming the Roe must be overruled because they were egregiously wrong. The arguments exceptionally weak and so damaging that they amounted to abuse of judiciary authority. The decision, most of which was leaked in early May, means that the abortion rights will be rolled back in nearly half of the states immediately, with more restrictions likely to follow. For all practical purposes, abortion will not be available in large swaths of the country. Okay. The decision may well mean that the court itself, as well as the abortion question, will become a focal point in the upcoming fall elections in the fall and thereafter. You see, they think that reversing Roe versus Wade is going to save the Democrats in the midterm elections. That's what they think, because they think, oh, well, all these people are going to come out and vote against Republicans, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about that. It might be possible. It might be possible. They might have turned the tide on that. We'll see. I don't really give a fuck. You know, y'all know how I feel about elections and voting. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about so-called representatives and politicians. Joining Alito's opinion were Justice Clarence Thomas, appointed by the first President Bush, and 3 Trump appointees. Y'all know Gorsuch, bitch-ass Kavanaugh, and Barrett. Chief Justice John Roberts, appointed by George W. Bush, concurred that in the judgment only, and would have limited the decision to upholding the Mississippi law at issue in this case, which banned abortions after 15 weeks. Calling the decision a serious jolt to the legal system, he said that both the majority and dissent displayed a relentless freedom from doubt on the legal issue that I cannot share. Dissenting were Breyer and Clinton, Justices Sotomayor and Kagan, appointed by Obama. Young women today will come of age with fewer rights than their mother. Here we go with the right. You do not have a right to kill a baby. You do not have a right to kill a fetus in the womb. You understand what I'm saying? You do not have that right, because now I'm going to explain it. It's simple. I'm not a religious person, and this has nothing to do with religion. What my opinion on this. the fact of the matter is, you decided, right? I'm speaking to women. You decided to open your legs and allow a man to skeet up in you. You understand what I'm saying? And as a man, you decided to get in between those legs, penetrate a woman, and ejaculate into her, right? Now, if you're old enough to make that decision, then you're old enough to know that this can result in mitosis, right? Right? When the sperm goes into the egg and it starts to split and divide and form a life inside your body. Now, you may say your body, your choice, but it's not just your body we're talking about now. We're talking about the body of the child that has been, planted inside of you, right? Now, you may feel like it is your body because now you're hosting a parasite and all this, that, and third. But at the end of the day, it's a human life, right? It's a human life, and you decided to have the sex. And when you decided to have the sex, you took on the possibility that you could get pregnant. That's something that you understood, right? That's really just the guy's honest truth about it. That's how I feel about it. Because that fetus is a life, right? The fetus is a life. From the very moment of fertilization, a woman has no rights. Okay? That's not what this does, right? Because the states that allow you to have abortions is still in place. You still have the right to, not the right, you still have the ability to kill a baby. You have the ability to commit infanticide in certain states still. That you see what I'm saying? They enjoy the right to kill. Well, not the right. They feel you have more of a right to kill a baby, right, in the womb or just outside of the womb, up to 9 months. They feel that you have the right to kill a baby, but they don't feel like you have the right to keep bear arms. Even though the right to keep bear arms is actually in the Constitution, the right to kill a baby is not in the Constitution, right? And so, you see how backwards this is? They call this a right, but they don't feel like you have a right to carry a firearm outside your house, on a subway, in a school, on the streets, on a crowded street in New York. They don't feel like you have that right, but they feel like you have the right to go into a clinic and have a baby cut up with a chainsaw. You understand what I'm saying? Or sucked out of you. They feel like you have that right. See what I'm saying? It's backwards. It's a completely asinine, right? Completely asinine. But this was something I wanted to see. Here's this. Here's this guy, right? Here's this guy.
Very solemn moment.
It's a solemn moment.
Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people.
Why is he? Wait, oops. Why is he lying?
Today is it's not hyperbole to suggest a very solemn moment. Today, the Supreme Court of the United States expressly took away a constitutional right from the American people.
It's not a constitutional right. Where is he? This is that bullshit. It's not a constitutional right. Where are they getting that from?
That it had already recognized. They didn't limit it. They simply took it away.
No. What they did was they put it to the states, right? They're allowing the states to decide whether or not to ban abortions or restrict abortions. This is that bullshit, right? It's a lie. You understand what I'm saying? Wow. These people.
That's never been done to a right so important to so many Americans.
What about the right to keep and bear arms? That's not so important. They don't think the right to keep and bear arms is so important, even though that's an actual right. It's a right whether it's in the Constitution or not. It's just recognized and enumerated in the Constitution. And the Constitution talks about rights that aren't enumerated that you have. Rights that you have naturally that the government can't take away that aren't in the Constitution. It recognizes that you have those rights. But one of them is not to kill. Infanticide is not a human right. It's not a human right. So what are we talking about here?
But they did it. It's a sad day for the court and for the country. 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was decided and has been the law of the land since then. This landmark case...
And guess what? Over 200 years ago, the right to keep and bear arms was decided, codified, and it has been shat on numerous times throughout history, throughout the history of the United States. Even though it's a natural-born right that the Constitution doesn't grant, the government doesn't grant it, it just recognizes it, says you can't infringe on that shit. But the right to infanticide, that's the one they're concerned about.
Protect a woman's right to choose, her right to make intensely personal decisions.
The right for that woman to choose whether or not another life gets to continue on this earth. Instead of focusing on making proper decisions with your body before you get pregnant, because you have the right to abstain. You have the right to wear a condom. You have a right to ensure that that person pulls out. You have a right to not randomly have sex with people. You have the right to use Plan B. You can do that, right? You can do that. Take a Plan B. Do what you got to do. Instead of having your club shot up, you have the right to decide to not get pregnant by abstaining, by wearing a condom, by being more selective about who you have sex with, by ensuring that, okay, if I have sex with this person and I get pregnant, will they be there for me? Will this be something that I want to do? They talk about rape and all this other stuff, but abortions due to rape is extremely rare. Extremely rare. I would even make an exception for that, right? Because there are other options. If you don't want the child after you become pregnant, you have the option to give it up for adoption. You can find a good family that you vet and investigate and make sure that they're going to take care of that child. Because there are plenty of people out there that want children and can't have them. You have the right to give the baby up for adoption. If you feel like you cannot provide a good life for that child, that's just reality. Rashard Gibbons was good. I appreciate that, Rashard. As a woman, you can give it up for adoption if you get raped. Unfortunately, that's something that's a reality, but it's not prevalent for women with abortions. What's most prevalent is he skeeted in me, I got pregnant, I want to get rid of it. Very rare that it has anything to do with rape, the abortion. But again, you have other options. You have other options. You can find in your heart to keep and take care of that child, knowing that that child was a product of such horrible violence. You could turn around and love and nurture that child in spite of it, or you can give it up for adoption. But that may be something that because that creates a trauma when you get raped, right? I understand that as a woman, it creates a certain type of trauma. That's something that I would not look so badly upon if you got an abortion due to rape. I wouldn't be like, oh well, I'd be less inclined to look at you a certain way. I don't know, man, but there are other options outside of abortion if something like that happens.
Decisions with their doctor, free from the interference of politics. It reaffirmed basic principles of equality, that women have the power to control their own destiny.
You see, say how it's just about the woman, nothing about the child. What about the child's destiny? They don't give a fuck about that. They don't really give a fuck about children, right? As much as they like to act like they're so torn up about children dying in mass situations, they don't really give a fuck about children.
And it reinforced a fundamental right of privacy, a right of each of us to choose how to live our lives. Now, with Roe gone, let's be very clear.
What about me choosing the way I live my life in terms of carrying a firearm outside my house or choosing whatever firearm I want to use? Anyway, I'm done with this clown. Now, I just want to go over something real quick with this guy, man. Rashard Givens asked, what gun do you think I should get? I'm thinking of an M1A SOCOM 16. Those are pretty good. Yeah, why not? All right. Because this is a pure hypocrisy at its finest, man. I just want you to, the contradictory shit that come out of this guy's mouth is hilarious.
To me, that doesn't make any sense.
Come on, man, doesn't make any
I
sense.
say, hey, how do we determine when somebody is dead? By their heartbeat, right? Once the heart stops beating, they're dead. You call it. So I say, by the same logic, okay, when the heart starts beating, we'll say the person's alive. We'll say the person's alive. I say that's a pretty big. That's a pretty big. I think that's fair, man. I think that's 100% fair. 100% fair. Get the likes up, please. Goodness gracious, get the likes up.
No.
But I'm just thinking people who are like, yo, freaking no exceptions, no exceptions. I'm like, that's wild to me. That's wild to me. That is wild to me.
He's basically saying, when the heart starts beating, that's when you make that determination that, okay, well, that's a life and blah, blah, blah. And then he's saying that they're like, no exceptions. But that's just in certain states, right? That's just in certain states. I don't believe in the government. Now, see, this is just like murder, right? It's murder. So if a state says no exceptions, even before the heartbeat, well, it's still a life. Even though it's not a heartbeat there, it's still a life. It is just forming the heart, right? It's forming the heart. But it is what it is, man.
So I get why people are upset. I'd be upset too. And here's the thing. Upon having more children, I hope people are waiting for more social programs. I would.
Okay. Now this is the fallacy known as post hoc ergo proctor hoc. Let me explain that. First, let's see what he said again. I hate this shit.
What bullshit is that? Why should I have to pay for something I didn't agree to?
Oh shit.
Oh, it's not abortion hasn't been stopped. It's going to go back to the states. Please stop that. How these people view it is that, hey, that's tantamount to the argument of slavery. That's tantamount to the argument of slavery. It's like, hey, wait, we shouldn't ban slavery. We should just give it back to the states. Let the states decide. Listen, I just don't see how you can be limited government and then be like, yo, I'm gonna allow the states to decide.
You don't see how that's limited government because you're removing, right? So it's going from a federal central government decision to a state decision. You're limiting government. So now instead of federal and then state, you're removing the federal government from controlling that and it's going to the state. And from there, you break it down, right? So you might take it from the state and go local. The state might be like, you know what? We're going to allow each local government to decide abortion or whatever. Then now you've taken it from the state and you've broken it down to local. That's how it's less government in that regard. But we're talking about killing babies, right? Killing babies. So even if there was government, and even if there wasn't government, if you live in a community where it has extremely limited government, right? Where it's a voluntarist society, and you commit murder in this community, you're still going to be punished. You don't need government. So, like, if I catch, if members of a community catch another member of the community killing someone, right, and they witness it, they're right there to see it. There's multiple people that can corroborate, oh, this person killed that person. They can immediately exact justice on that individual at that very moment by killing them, right? Oh, you took a life, we're going to take your life. You don't need a government for that. It's the same with killing a child in the womb. If you do it, you don't need government to be punished for it. You understand what I'm saying? If you commit a heinous act, all it takes is for other individuals in your community to know that you did it and do something about it. You understand what I'm saying? Without government sanction, without government permission. It's not.
How are you allowed the state to decide on what someone can do with their body? That's crazy to me.
It's not their body. You're talking about the body of the child as well.
Another thing that's crazy to me is that there are going to be states that make it so if you get an abortion, if you get raped, you could be prosecuted and go to jail. That's insane to me. Like, you're telling me incest or rape, the woman can go to jail?
I'm torn about that.
Wow, you're going to take her to prison and fine her? That's wild to me, man. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to me, bro. That's fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. The wildest shit ever.
What a cornball.
I just don't listen. I'm very much pro-abortion. Okay, pro-abortion is the pro-life stance to me. Pro-abortion is the pro-life stance to me. Cause I don't know why the fuck you would want a kid raising a kid. That doesn't make any sense to me. To me, that doesn't make any sense.
This fucking idiot asks, why would you want to raise a kid? Because it's human nature. It's the nature of living beings, right? To continue the species. You want to have children so that those children could carry on the human race, right? Like a tiger would want to have children to carry on the tiger race, and a lion, and a bird, a fucking bee. They have babies to continue on the species. That's why you want to. What? What an idiot.
As I said, hey, how do we determine when somebody is dead? By their heartbeat, right? Once the heart stops beating, they're dead. You call it. So I say, by the same logic, okay, when the heart starts beating, we'll say.
So he's implying that a baby is dead until it has a heartbeat when it's conceived. No, it's alive. It's just okay. So what the heart is doing is pumping blood. It's pumping blood to get oxygen and nutrients to certain organs in the body. It's just that in the first few weeks of pregnancy, the woman's heart is taking on that action through the placenta. You understand what I'm saying? But it's still a life, right? It's still a life within that form that is pumping those nutrients, that oxygen in that blood to. It's still a life. It's still alive. You understand what I'm saying? But, you know, if you want to say heartbeat, it is what it is, man. You know, it is what it is. The problem is when they start taking it to, oh, well, you can have an abortion up to 9 months. You can kill the baby outside of the womb if it has certain defects. That's the problem, and that's what this is going to. You understand what I'm saying? So if it's going to be the heartbeat, well, it's at the heartbeat. Once the baby has a heartbeat, there's no abortion, period, right? But if you allow, it is what it is, man.
Say the person's alive. We'll say the person's alive. I say that's a pretty big. That's a pretty big. I think that's fair, man. I think that's 100% fair. 100% fair. Get the likes up, please. Goodness gracious, get the likes up. But I'm just thinking people who are like, yo, freaking no exceptions, no exceptions. I'm like, that's wild to me. You. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard. So you tell me I should expect to be forced into fatherhood upon fucking a woman? What?
Who forced you to fuck a woman? That's the question. Who forced you to fuck a woman? Who forced you to fuck a woman without a condom? Who forced you to fuck a woman without a condom and skeet inside the woman? I'm just saying.
That shit doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Nor would I say I don't think any woman should be forced into motherhood. Listen, why the fuck would you want a woman who doesn't want a child to have a child?
Because the woman was not forced to fuck the guy to get skeeted in to have the child conceived in the first place. No one has forced a woman to have sex. If you don't want a child, then don't have sex. Or don't have sex without a condom. Or don't have a sex without not being skeeted in. And they also have these things they call drip sticks. A very good tool. Me and my wife use it. Look it up. It's from Awkward Essentials. Okay? I'm not sponsored by them, but look up Awkward Essentials. Matter of fact, let me put that up in here. Awkward Essentials, right? It's called a drip stick. Right? If you want that good feeling when you get it in. Matter of fact, I might pull it up on the thing. Stick. If you want that good feeling, you don't want to wear a condom. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you don't want to wear a condom. You want that good wet feeling, right? You want to feel that wet. If you can get a woman wet, because some guys can't get women wet, and all that good shit. I'm pretty sure he's never experienced much wet in his life. The way he treats women and praises the C9000. He probably he probably need to, he probably has a lot of KY jelly on hand. Brothers like me, we don't need no KY. We get that natural wet. But anyway. Awkward Essentials drip stick. See this? Very good tool. Very good tool. New and improved handle. Has a new improved handle. Now, me and my wife, we have like maybe 100 of these, right? So what you do is, because we don't want no more babies, but I also don't want to get snipped. You understand what I'm saying? For what? But it is what it is. Because look, there is a possibility my wife can get pregnant again, and I feel like if she does, the only thing that makes us hesitate to have more children, really, is the size of our house, the size of our land. But we're expanding, right? We have the ability. We're going to have the ability to expand the size of our household in terms of square footage and acreage. And why not? I mean, if we end up having more children down the road, we know that we can handle it. And the only thing that's really stopping us right now is the fact that we have a minivan that only seats 8 children, or seats 8. That only seats 8 people. Because we tried to find a 12-seat van, right? A 12-seat passenger van. Fucking difficult in these times. very, very hard. So that's the only thing stopping us, really. But anyway, and my wife goes back and forth in her head because she's a woman about whether or not she wants to have more children. But these things are great, right? If you want to get that skeet and you don't want to get pregnant, this can reduce your chance of getting pregnant. And it helps a woman not feel, icky, after she's been skeeted in. You know what I'm saying? So you just put it. The woman inserts this thing in her vagina, right? And it sucks up the ejaculate, and you pull it out, and then a lot of most of the ejaculate's in there, and it greatly reduces the chance of getting pregnant because, you're basically going in there and you scooping all that shit out. Not all of it. You're not gonna get all of it, right? But not for your butt. Yeah. It's super soft medical grade sponge that quickly soaks up gooey leftovers to eliminate dripping discomfort. That's an option. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because sometimes you pull out, but not fast enough, and some gets in there, and some gets in, and some gets on the leg or on the stomach or on the titties, whatever you want to do. But anyway, that's an option. It's not 100%. Of course not.
That's fucking crazy to me. That's crazy to me. I'm just saying, that's fucking crazy to me. In addition to that, upon with Roe v. Wade being overturned, right, and going back to the states, if these states outlaw abortion without balancing it with programs, social programs, then what is the goal here then? That's why.
So this is what I'm talking about. The post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy, where he's saying if a state outlaws abortion, then they're going to need social programs because more women are going to have babies that are going to be having financial needs. Well, that's not necessarily true. Several things can happen, right? If a state outlaws abortion, then certain individuals who live in that state that don't agree with it, they can leave the state. That's one thing that can happen. Another thing that can happen is they stop having reckless sex, right? Or stop getting skeeted in so much. Or maybe this will reduce pregnancies because women be a lot more careful. That's another option. And another option is, yes, there could be a lot more babies in poor families that could require financial aid. But that's not the only option. But he's presented as such that it is. And that's the post hoc ergo propter hoc. This is going to happen because of this. Or saying that this happened, when this happened, something else happened, so therefore this thing caused that. So let's say that, let me give a good example. Let's say, okay, just like with me, right? I moved here from California, and when I get here, in the month of June, the amount of average rain in the month of June in South Carolina is more than what actually happened this June. So let's say in the month of June, there's a lot less rain than there normally is in South Carolina, and this happened after I showed up. So that's saying that because I showed up, me showing up to South Carolina caused the rain in South Carolina to be lessened in the month of June, which is stupid, right? I didn't show up and then it just stopped raining so much because I showed up. That's basically what he's saying. That's a fallacy. That's me, you know what I'm saying? It's not raining as much in June because I came to South Carolina. That's a fallacy.
Here. Because that sounds like you just want a whole bunch of poor people.
What a fucking idiot. So, if we ban abortion in a certain state, that state wants more poor people. That's what he's saying, because he's a fucking dumbass.
That's what that sounds like. It sounds like you just want a whole bunch of poor people.
It sounds like that to you because you're an idiot.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Poor bunch of poor babies. Now, what someone said, I thought this was interesting. They were saying, hey, this has nothing to do with black people. Because you know the one thing Republicans love to do, they're attacking the black.
Look at this. Why does he continue to do this? It's mad suspect, yo.
Black babies, they're attacking the black. Get the fuck out of here, this black baby shit. I don't give a fuck how many Planned Parenthoods are in the black communities. Guess what? Non-pregnant women, black women, don't go to Planned Parenthood to get an abortion.
Exactly. You wouldn't have to worry about whether or not you need an abortion if you didn't get pregnant. And you can control the odds of yourself getting pregnant by doing several things. Abstaining, not getting skeeted in, wearing a condom. So just like you're saying that just because there's an abortion clinic, you don't have to go. As a black woman, you don't have to get pregnant and go to an abortion clinic. The same goes for whether or not you have are allowed by law to get an abortion. You don't have to get pregnant, right?
Non-pregnant black women don't get abortions.
Boom. Non-pregnant black women don't have to worry about whether or not they are allowed to have an abortion. See how that works? It works both ways, bro.
So don't blame fucking Planned Parenthood.
So don't blame the state that bans abortions. Because if you don't get pregnant, if you don't get pregnant unintentionally by going out and having sex randomly and having sex with people that you don't want to have babies with, then you won't have to worry about the ban.
Blame the black women.
Blame the black woman. Blame any woman. Blame any woman that goes out, has sex with people, right? And gets pregnant when they didn't want to get pregnant. That's your fault. So the idea that you should be allowed to kill that baby because you went out and did whatever you had to do to get pregnant and didn't want the baby, it's your fault.
Tired of hearing this stupid shit. I've said this before. Constantly blaming Planned Parenthood. Oh, they in the community. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Non-pregnant black women can't get abortions, okay? It's that simple.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
It's that simple.
Non-pregnant black women don't have to worry about abortion bans. Ooh.
However, what I will say is that those that want to get one should fucking be able to. Why the fuck would I want a woman who doesn't want to be a mother, not ready to be a mother, mentally, physically, or financially, to be a fucking mother?
If she doesn't want to be a mother, don't do the shit that will get you pregnant. If you don't want to be a mother, don't do the things that you have to do to get pregnant. How about that? And you won't have to worry about whether or not you can kill that baby because you're not going to get pregnant.
What? So I get the bill? The taxpayer gets the bill? Fuck out of here. Go fuck yourself. This, as far as I'm concerned, this is the same thing as illegal immigration, bitch. This is illegal immigration. Why am I paying for your illegal ass? You shouldn't be here. That's an illegal immigrant. That's what I see it. It's an illegal immigrant to me. That's a fucking illegal immigrant. Why the fuck am I
That's a false comparison.
paying for your mistake? Huh? Why the fuck am I paying for your mistake? That shit doesn't make any sense to me. Bitch, this is your
So why does a child have to pay for your mistake of getting pregnant by being murdered?
baby. Now you want to put it up for adoption? Nah. That's not, no. That's the craziest shit ever, man.
Why is putting it up for adoption crazy when there are people out there that can't have children to give them the capability of having children? He compared it to immigration, Rashard.
They want to talk about, we need to worry about the life. And what about the baby, bro? What about you? How many kids have you adopted? I think anyone who's saying pro-choice, not pro-choice, pro-life, if you have not adopted Please shut the fuck up.
You shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? If you don't like women and can't get women and can't keep a woman, then you should shut the fuck up.
I don't want to hear you. Because you are an ultimate hypocrite. You are the ultimate hypocrite.
No, you're
to
the
me personally. Just saying. If you are pro-life and have not adopted, please shut the fuck up.
What a retard. What?
Put your money.
What kind of shit is that? What kind of shit is that? So you're saying if a person does not agree with abortion, they should adopt? Or if they believe that a woman who doesn't want a child should give it up for adoption, should adopt a child? That's retarded. That's dumb. Because there are people out there that actually do want to adopt children that can do that.
Where your mouth is. Because I don't want to hear this goofy shit. I don't want to hear it.
Says the biggest goof in the world.
Says, Lucas, please go listen to mediocre tutorials and reviews. You need to listen to his take on abortion. Mediocre tutorials and review. Mediocre. Wait, is it that guy, that lame? I really don't care what his lame ass says, bro.
Look at this guy calling somebody lame.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We already checked out his shit. I was like, this shit is weak.
Look at this guy.
This shit is weak sauce, bro. That's just me. That's just me. Like, from someone who knows game, like, I'm not.
Knows game? Is this guy claiming to know game? This guy don't know no game. Me too, Richard. But he didn't. And he wouldn't. And he never would. This guy ain't got no game. You think this guy got game? Look at this guy. He ain't got no game. Trust me on that. If you have to ask, because this guy once, he was talking to some chick on the phone on his Peep Game Tuesday. Anybody that has a show called Peep Game Tuesday ain't got no fucking game. But anyway, he's having a conversation with this woman on the phone about, he's asking her, well, should I ask for a hug? And what do I do? How do I get a hug? But you got game, bro? You asking a woman, how do you get a hug from a woman? But you have game? No. That is the opposite of game. If you're asking somebody, do I ask for a hug? How do I get a hug? No, you don't ask for a fucking hug. What? This is basic shit, right? And I haven't been in the game since my 20s. I'm 42 years old. I ain't been in the game since I was 26, right? When I decided to become to be celibate. I was celibate for 3 years because I wanted to get on my purpose. Before all these motherfuckers in the so-called manosphere were talking about getting on their purpose, I did that shit. I stopped fucking with women when I was 26 years old so I could focus on getting my shit together. And I did that. I did it for 3 years. And then I found a woman that I ended up marrying, and we've been together ever since, and it's cool. Cool in the game. But if you have to ask a woman how to get a hug from a woman, then you ain't got no fucking game. Because you don't ask her, first of all. You say, give me a hug. Come give me a hug. And then you get the hug. You don't, can I have a hug? Can I have a kiss? No, motherfucker. No. Girl, come give me a hug, girl. It's simple. It's simple. Anyway.
Not impressed with anything he says, bro. Nothing he says. I think it's really dudes who have no game who are impressed with like the bare minimum. That shit is weird to me. 704, you're on the line. What's the disagreement and tell me why?
Well, it's like this.
Wow.
We're going to get ready to start seeing a lot of drooling adults in diapers. Okay, this is the disagreement. We're going to start seeing a lot of these. And
You're gonna have to turn off in the background.
Where did he say? He said some shit. Hold on. Anyway, I'm done with this one. Oh, let me see. Now he's talking about the bipartisan gun control bill. I haven't seen this video, so I haven't seen this. I wanted to go through it. He put in the thumbnail. Let's see, what he got in the thumbnail? Something about gun grab. I don't think anybody who opposes this bill said anything about it being a gun grab. Not anybody that I know that watched it or that knows about it. Okay, so let's see videos. Gun grab. I don't think it. See what it says? Gun grab. No one said that this particular bill, had anything to do with a gun grab. But let's see.
This is why we can't have nice things. Oh my goodness. So listen here, okay? If you haven't heard, there's been a bill that has been passed thus far, or at least made its way through the Senate. Bipartisan support on gun reform. And the bill really doesn't do anything crazy. It doesn't do anything crazy. But nevertheless, there is just...
You know what it does crazy? Expanded background checks for people under 21. People age 18 to 21. Expanded background checks that could delay their ability to obtain a firearm for up to 10 days. That's crazy. That's an infringement. Giving states money to initiate red flag laws, even though there's a whole due process thing that they have to do. Okay, that's fine. It's not really fine, but it is what it is. I mean, it really is not a red flag law if they have to go through the process and the steps and obtain proof and provide proof that those people actually present a danger to themselves and others, like unobtrusive, actual proof. That's not really a red flag law. But the whole thing about the expanded background checks, and there's something else having to do with FFL or some shit like that, where you have to, if you, I believe in this bill, if you do something particular, you have to have an FFL if you do certain thing with your firearm. I forgot what it was, but that's crazy.
Moaning and screaming.
Shut up.
I can't deal with it, man. I just can't deal. People who have never served in the military, okay, but yet they have all this tactical gear, okay, but yet they have all this...
Wait.
People who have gun nuts. And what I mean by gun nuts is that they're typically people who have never served in the military, okay, but yet they have all this tactical gear and this, all this body armor and...
What's wrong with this? Wait a minute. So the only way that you should be able to have tactical gear and body armor and be a gun nut is if you're a prior military? Now, I have military experience. So I'm allowed to have this. I'm allowed to wear this, but if he didn't serve in the military, he shouldn't be wearing that? That fucking sounds crazy to me. Because if you're training and you know how to use this stuff and you know its purpose and its use, and this thing on his back, this firearm, if he's practicing the safe use of that firearm and he's at the range, but according to the clown shoe Lucas, if you go to the range, what are you doing at the range? What are you talking about? Remember that stupid shit he said? When he said if you go to the range, you at the range. You ain't doing shit. You at the range. Yeah, you're at the range. You're practicing in case something happens, you fucking idiot. But to say that the only reason you should have this shit is if you're prior military or in the military, there's something wrong with you, right? Because tactical gear is not just for people in the military. Tactical gear for people who are interested in being tactical, right? Whether they're military or not. You go out and you train and you learn, and maybe you have a buddy that's prior military or a veteran that is helping train you. You understand what I'm saying? But he doesn't understand nuance like this. He doesn't understand these variables because he's a fucking idiot and he don't know shit. He's stuck in La La Land, right? La La Land being L.A., and he has that L.A. mentality. He's never. It's just the idea.
And all these attachments to their guns, and they know everything about the gun. Oh, this right here is a magazine. This clip 42 and don't. But
what's wrong with having knowledge of a firearm if you're not a military? What are you talking about? I mean, I'd be extremely comfortable with someone who has knowledge of a firearm if they weren't in the military. I'd be like, okay, that's good. You know your shit. But to him, that's fucking wild.
Wouldn't harm a butterfly, okay? but wouldn't harm anyone in a fist fight, all right? They're so heavily handicapped by their fire.
You won't do nothing in a fist fight. I invited you many a times to a fist fight. What are you talking about? You're not interested in the fist fight either, my friend.
Firearm that they're usually just corpulent, right? Usually physically out of shape. They're just everything is Second Amendment, shall not be infringed, right? They have very limited understanding of the Constitution or the Second Amendment.
You have limited understanding of the Constitution and the Second Amendment. I demonstrated that showing one of your stupid ass live streams where you're talking about, what the way regulated Malita is limited to being regulated. What a fucking
classic
idiot.
Just pray for, politicians. Because all you have to do is give them a soundbite about, absolutely, I believe, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed, and they'll just like,
yeah, absolutely, he right here, he Republican.
One thing, if I had to criticize Trump, is, I've said this before, is that he's made stupidity acceptable. Now, when it comes to this legislation, this is a nothing burger, okay? It's really a nothing burger if you look into it. Now, what it aims to do, I really don't know. I really don't know, because that's how light the legislation is.
You don't know? You don't know about the expanded background checks for people 18 to 21? You don't know about the expanded background checks? You don't know? You don't understand how that works from 3 days, 3-day waiting period to a 10-day waiting period? You don't think? See, he doesn't think that's an infringement. What's the difference in 10 days? 10 days can make a difference for an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old female college student who's being stalked or being harassed by a male college student. And when she goes to the police, she can't really, there's nothing they can do about it because he hasn't really done anything, right? Right? Because, that's how they do it. That's how they operate, right? And so there's nothing that they can do right now. It could mean the difference, though that 10 days can make a huge difference for a woman who's potentially in danger from being harmed by somebody. You understand what I'm saying? That's just an example.
Okay, if you actually read the bill,
and it's
readily available, that's how light the legislation is. But when it comes to the gun nuts, one thing that you'll see on the left and the right is that they both share this mindset, the fear-mongering, okay? Where it's like, hey,
this is going to happen, and they're going to just eradicate all gays, all alphabet people. They want us all to be put in gulags.
And it's like, bruh, no. No, when it came to the DeSantis bill,
it's no gay. They want to erase us from society.
It's like, no, bruh, that's not.
Now, he's making a great point here, but this it doesn't even come close to what they're doing with the gun control, right? It's a false comparison once again, because what the DeSantis bill did was prevent teachers from having secret conversations about sex with children. And it aimed to end that, right? Whereas, and then of course they say it's a don't say gay bill. That's not what it's about, right? Completely wrong. But what this is this new bill, what it does is it's an infringement, right? It is the expanded background checks for people from age 18 to 21. First of all, it's an arbitrary number. Arbitrary as fuck. It's an arbitrary number. Where'd they get that from? Why not 25? Why not 30? Why not, you know what I'm saying? It's very arbitrary, and it does what people say it's doing. It infringes on people from aged 18 to 21. It infringes on their rights to keep and bear arms, because what it does is it creates this ridiculous waiting period, right? That's an infringement. It's an infringement. Point blank in the period. And there's a reason that the Second Amendment says shall not be infringed, because this type of infringement could create problems down the road, and it has, right? But of course, these false comparisons, that's what he loves to do.
Not it at all. Calm down. They are the same cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as those on the right, right, who are constantly talking about,
They're gonna try and take away my guns, man. They're gonna try.
But they are trying to take away guns. They're trying to take away AR-15s. They're trying to come for your AR-15s. They're trying to come for your standard capacity magazines. They're trying to come. They're trying to come for that. What are you talking about? They're talking about doing mandatory buybacks. What are you talking about, dude? This is what we're just going by what these motherfuckers are saying out of their mouth. Okay? About what they want to do. Just because they haven't been able to succeed in doing that to a degree doesn't mean that they're not trying to do it. And that's what red flag laws do. It's already being done in certain states. In red flag law states, they're taking firearms from people without due process. So they're coming for your guns. This is being done. People have died because cops show up to initiate red flag laws, or to initiate a red flag seizure, and they didn't want to give up their rights because they're like, "What the fuck is this about?" But no, I'm not giving you my shit. So they actually have come for people's firearms. They have. So what are you talking about? And so when you're talking about federal funding for states to initiate red flag laws, you're talking about giving states the capability to take away people's rights to keep and bear arms on an individual basis, but still, right? Without due process. But this language puts in the need for due process. So it's not that particular part. It may be a nothing burger with the red flag law. It's not really a red flag law, but it is what it is.
Try and take away my guns. You wanna know what's gonna happen? They're gonna try and take away my guns. They're gun grabbers. That's what
it's like,
They are.
stop it. Get some help, bruh. What the bill goes over, it goes over as far as raising extended background checks on people under the age of 21. Now, looking into it, I didn't see anything different. From my understanding, this seemed to be all basic, requirements for when you get a gun, right?
However, let's see if he talks about the waiting period, the potential waiting period up to 10 days.
They do a little background check on, your mental health, make sure you've never been in a psych ward, stuff like that. They, speak to what they said in the bill, was
look at that. As soon as possible, but in no case more than 3 days. After the license gets taxed the system, or 3 days.
Law enforcement department that where you reside, make sure you have, nothing, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? You're not a felon, that you can't have.
Now, as soon as possible, but in no case more than, I don't know if he expected people to read this or not. In no case more than 3 days after the licensee contacts the system, notify the licensee whether cause exists, further investigate a possibility of disqualifying juvenile record under subsection D of such section 922, and if there is cause for further investigation as soon as possible. Now, who determines what the cause is? Right? What's
have a firearm, stuff like.
What's the cause? Who's going to determine what the cause is? See, this is fucking subjective, right? But in no case more than 10 days. So you're talking about an up to 10-day waiting period. Because
and it's just,
these systems aren't perfect, right? Some shit might come up. Somebody might get flagged incorrectly. And now they have to wait 10 days. That's a fucking infringement. You're talking about relying on a flawed system such as the NICS system. Then this could be a problem. This is an infringement. That's what we're talking about.
Basic stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It gives us funding to mental health services. Okay, that's good. All right,
No
don't
issue
have a
with
problem with that because that's usually the go-to whenever there's a gun violence, a school shooting. Oh, it's mental health. It's mental health. When it's a black person, well, that's just who they are. 1350, Luke.
I agree. This part is true. He's right.
It's 1350. It appeases the white ignorance who want to scream about, mental health, constantly mental health. Okay, you got that. It then goes on to close the boyfriend loophole thing when it comes to guns. Now, I looked into that and how it goes about.
Now, this federal law restricts the firearm access to people convicted of a domestic violence misdemeanors. Only applies if a person convicted of that crime is the current or former spouse, parent, or guardian of the victim, has had a child in common with the victim, or as similarly situated to a spouse, parent, or guardian of the victim. Now, the gap in the law allows people who have demonstrated record of committing violence or abuse against a dating partner or lawfully keep and acquire guns designed to take human life.
It's essentially that it's not. You have to be married is how the wording, it's the language. That's all it is, how they describe what an intimate partner is. Well, an intimate partner is that you have to be married to the person or a cohabitant, right? Yeah.
I agree that this part is kind of convoluted, right? It is not very clear. It's not very clear. Now, if you commit domestic violence against a woman or a spouse, I question myself whether or not you should have a firearm. But if you're convicted of domestic violence of a spouse back in the day, and it's been like 10, 12 years or something like that, and you served, you paid your debt to society, I feel like you should have a firearm again. Like you paid your debt to society. What were the circumstances behind the domestic violence? These are things that have to be addressed.
You have to live with them or have a child with them. Now, they be violent towards you, and you not live with them, not be married to them, and don't have a child with them. Okay, that's fine. And it's not really a big deal to me, okay? It's a nothing burger. Now, I will say that calling it the boyfriend loophole, I believe that's sexist, okay? Legal. So in that case, it's a nothing burger, but what has everyone's panties in a bunch is that what it does is that it gives grants for states that want to enforce red flag laws. Lord, goodness gracious, the gun nuts are losing their minds. Oh, this is unconstitutional. It's not.
But people already acknowledge it's not really a red flag law because of the stipulations within the text that dictate what the states can do in order to have people's firearms seized. Right? There has to be a level of due process. We acknowledge that. I feel like people that I watch that have sense, that are on my side with this, they acknowledge that this is not really a red flag law, right? That's what it's not a red flag law. This is not. Like the way that the wording is and what you have to do, you have to prove this and that and the third. But what I do have an issue with is if you want to defend yourself against these accusations of being a danger to yourself and others, then you're not allowed a court-appointed attorney. You have to come out your own pocket when someone makes these accusations. If you haven't even committed a crime, you have to defend yourself at your own expense. That's the problem I have with it, right? But the people that do say that you're demonstrating this danger to yourself and others, they have to actually prove that there's merit behind that accusation. It can't just be hearsay, right? It's not a red flag law. I know that.
Unconstitutional, right? It's been voted on time and time again. All right, in certain cases of imminent danger or threat, all right, to the general public, yes, the government does have certain rights and liberties.
And guess what? This is already a law, right? There are already laws covering this, right? There are already laws against making threats to somebody. There's already laws against presenting a danger to other people. Because in order to present that danger to other people, there are certain things you have to do to demonstrate that. That makes it unequivocally known that, yeah, you're a dangerous motherfucker. Because you're actually doing something that can be perceived as dangerous. Like maybe you're calling in a fake a bomb thing or something like that. You're threatening to kill somebody. You threaten to kill somebody that's already against the law, right? Terroristic threats. If you threaten violence or demonstrate that you're a threat unequivocally, that's already against the law.
To impose a temporary restraining order or immediate action, okay, regarding your rights. That has been widely established, okay? So this concept of a
Oh, yeah, Deuce was good.
violates the Constitution, your right to due process, all that's bullcrap, okay? That's absolute bullcrap. Don't believe that. That's nonsense. Nevertheless, this has nothing to really do with red flag laws because it's an incentive to the states. The states don't have to take those grants, right? There are states that won't be a recipient of the grants because they won't enact red flag laws. However, those that do, you will get grants. I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? There's literally nothing wrong with that. This is very constitutionally sound. Hence, why I would argue why it has bipartisan support. Because majority of us, outside from the outliers of both parties that are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, majority of us don't have a problem with this. The majority are like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. This legislation's a nothing burger, okay? It's just fear mongers who want to.
So if the majority, see, that's a fallacy known as appeal to majority, right? Because the majority, now this is proposals to reduce. Now these are through polls, right? Now, this is what is known as appeal to majority. Just because the majority believes in a thing doesn't mean that it's correct. Just because the majority believes something is right doesn't mean it's right? 88% are for gun background checks. 84% for enforcing gun laws. Legal age for assault rifles, 21%. This is what they're saying. 82%. Flag people, danger to self, 81%. Just because these numbers are here doesn't mean that it's right. You understand what I'm saying? The legal age 21 assault rifles. How is this? Just because 82% of the people believe that the legal age for assault rifles should be 21 doesn't mean that it's right. Because it isn't. It's an arbitrary number, right?
Majority are like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever. This legislation's a nothing burger, okay? It's just fear mongers who want to fear monger, okay? That's all that is. If you are susceptible to fear mongering, then I'm sorry, your chances are you're not that bright. To fear mongering, then I'm.
Is it fear mongering to say that the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed? Or is that just a fact? Is that something that is right? It's a moral question. Should the government have the capability to prohibit firearms? Should they have the ability to restrict your access to firearms? No, they shouldn't. To say that they shouldn't is not fear-mongering. To say that red flag laws seek to curtail due process and people's rights, that's not fear-mongering because it's a fucking fact. That's what red flags laws do. You have an ex parte hearing with a judge, right? Somebody says, oh, you're a danger to yourself or to others. They don't have any proof. That's just something that's coming out of their fucking mouth. It's hearsay. A cop goes to a judge and says, look, has an ex parte hearing and gets a judge to sign off on seizing your weapons without you being able to defend yourself, without you having committed a crime, without any of that, without any proof. And they come take your shit. And this has happened. There's historical data, right? Empirical data showing that the red flag laws have been used to seize people's firearms without due process. That's not fear-mongering. That fucking actually happened. It actually happened.
I'm sorry, your chances are you're not that bright. It is what it is. You're not that bright because this is a win-win for everyone. The Democrats get to say, hey, we're fighting back on gun violence, okay? We've gotten your gun reform, even though this is this is nothing. And then the right gets to say, hey, this doesn't, this toes the line of, of being constitutional, but it also doesn't enforce red flag laws, and I'm against red flag laws and blah, blah, blah. Everyone gets to have their piece of the pie. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not...
I think you're an idiot. But that's all I got for today, guys. I got to get my workout on. Today's a light day, so I ain't really tripping. I went over a little bit longer than I was anticipating, but, it's a light day. Anyway, listen. It's not fear-mongering to point out the words that these people use that believe in gun control, right? Like Beto O'Rourke. He said, yeah, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s or AK-47s. That's not fear-mongering to point out that he said that, right? It's not fear-mongering to say red flag laws seek to curtail due process in the seizure of your firearms. It violates the 4th Amendment. It violates the 2nd Amendment. It violates the 14th Amendment. These are not, that's not fear-mongering, because that's what it does, right? It's not fear-mongering to ban, it's not fear-mongering to point out the fact that banning standard capacity magazines would criminalize an individual who owns them and decides to keep them. It's not fear-mongering, it's the fucking truth. Right? Just like in California when they did that the assault weapons ban in 2016, where even the bullet button, right? They didn't want any detachable magazine. They wanted you to open the fucking firearm to release the magazine. To point out that would make you a criminal if you didn't take away the features, like a muzzle suppressor or a flash suppressor, a pistol grip, and all that other shit. To say that it would criminalize you to not make those modifications, that's not fear-mongering. That's what it did. If you decided not to modify your firearm to the point where you're changing certain features to appease a fucking government, that's not fear-mongering. It's the fucking truth. It's frustrating. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all, man. I wish I could fight them too. Anyway, much love, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and let me know what y'all think in the comment section. It is what it is, man. This is, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. I don't know what to tell y'all, but anyway. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, we got to keep marching forward toward freedom.